first day 6-year-old N came to the class, he was in tears, fearful of a new teacher and full of sadness. He didn't even think he had a need for creative writing classes in the first place. He had his English ma'am in school after all, who taught him all he needed to know. But his parents thought otherwise. They wanted to give him a jump start in using the language and make him capable of doing his academic writing tasks by himself. And so here he was, against his wish, with a weepy face and runny nose. He reluctantly took the tissue that I offered him and continued to sniff through the class. I tried to placate him with my soft speech and gentle ways and hoped it would help him warm up to me by the end of the hour. I even read to him a grandmother's tale to humor him, but his face continued to remain downcast. Slowly, the snot in his nostrils stopped running, and I took it as a propitious sign. "Are you happy now?" I asked, as the clock struck 1 and it was time for him to go home. "Yes," he whispered, hastily putting the pencil and eraser back into their case. "Why were you crying when you came, and what makes you happy now?" I thought my soft manner had worked its magic on him, and I expected him to give me the credit for the change. "Because you are a kind teacher," he might say, and I would flush with pride. "I am happy because the class is over and I can go home," he said, tucking his mask string behind the ears. I was devastated. All my kindness had gone to waste. He hadn't even noticed how hard I had tried to make him feel at home. "Don't you like coming here?" The question was out before I could bite my tongue. This is what it means to dig your own grave. He shook his head hard. It is tough to deal with rejection, regardless of where it comes from. And when a little boy, untainted by the perjury of the world, hands it to you, you take it as a genuine slap in the face. You fall in your own eyes. That ego was beaten to a pulp, and I was as good as dead in a matter of minutes. Unable to stand the scene, my pride made a hurried exit and climbed over the railing in the balcony and plunged all the way down, 25 floors flat. That's how far it had to travel before crashing down to bits. "I want to go home. I want to sleep," Anne muttered from behind the mask. "Of course, you are going home now. But don't you want to come again? It will be fun, I promise. I'll teach you new things. We will read stories. You are a smart boy, aren't you?" It almost sounded like an entreaty, a pathetic appeal to revise his decision and resurrect me from the ashes. No. He was categorical. He wasn't coming back. I had failed to win favor with him as a teacher. Neither my endearing words nor my doleful voice could persuade him to come back. I was a disaster, stamped and certified by a guileless 5-year-old boy. It is in situations like this that one begins to appreciate the crucial role Indian parents play in the life of their children. They are relentless to the point of being called tyrants sometimes. They will not bargain for anything less than what is best for their offspring and will leave no stone unturned to make achievers out of them. N's parents were good and kind-hearted people, but they would brook no dissent from their little son. So they sent him back to the class on the designated day the following week. My admiration for Indian parents grew exponentially overnight. I pivoted from my previously held views of them being overbearing and severe with matters regarding their kids and found rational in their stringent ways. Days tucked themselves into weeks, and before I knew it, 2 months had flown out of the year. In these 2 months, N and I had become buddies, and he learned many things about me. That I wrote stories was one of them. By stories, he meant books. He also learned that the latest story I had written was called Life is an Emoji. He had once seen printouts of the cover image on my table and had inquired about them. Now I began to look forward to the days when he had a class with me. His presence filled our home with a vibrance that only children are capable of effusing. Every day before we started the lessons, I would ask him if there was any interesting news to share. He would give me tidbits from the previous day's TV news, which he watched with his parents. And then I would ask for life news, which meant interesting events from his life in the previous week. He's an absolute foodie and loves chatting about food. The light I see in his eyes when we talk food makes me want to adopt him. He told me that his mother had made samosa and kesari, which is suji halwa, on Saturday, and that they had ordered in food some other day of the week. He also told me about his evening walks and how they fed Matty cat in the park every day. He also added that Matty cat didn't drink milk. Today, in the TV news segment, he apprised me of Z category security for popular people and explained what it was in great detail. Then I asked him for life news. He looked at me with an impish smile. Life news? I nodded. He slowly rose from the chair, walked toward the wall, and pointing at the frame which held the cover picture of my latest book, he said with deliberate emphasis, Life is an emoji. The husband and I burst into laughter. My book had got the best brand ambassador it could have asked for. Our laughter mingled with his giggles and filled every nook and cranny of our house. As the bubbly moment stretched beyond its stipulated time, I remembered a line from a devotional song in Malayalam written by the 16th century poet Pundanam Namboodiripad. ഉണ്ണികൃഷ്ണൻ മനസ്സിൽ കളിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഉണ്ണികൾ മറ്റു വേണമോ മക്കളായി. It means, when baby Krishna is playing in your heart, do you need other children of your own? I fondly summoned the images of all my past and present students, including the adorable half-pint in front of me, and said to myself, when you have these children in your life, does it matter that you don't have children of your own?